Welcome to the Wrexham Coffee Matchup. I'm Dave.
And I'm Courtney. Each week, we'll take a few minutes to catch up on the latest news from Wrexham. From matchups to transfers, on and off the pitch, we'll share our takes on it all.
So grab a coffee and join us.
Hey, Dave, welcome back.
Hey, how are you doing? I shouldn't ask that question. I should say,
no.
Are you recovered from last week?
Also, no. Are you?
I'm not, but I thought I would just start this week's episode. It was a challenging week in the Wrexham world, but I think we'll start by setting a little framework.
Sure.
Number one, we absolutely love Wrexham as much today as we did last week, and
That's
has
true.
not diminished. We love Phil Parkinson.
That is also true.
We are Parky in all the way,
Yes.
and
Both feet in.
And over the last 42 matches, we have come to love every single one of the players who was brought in this year. And so none of that has changed.
And all of the players that still remain.
From previous
all
years.
Of the whole team.
The whole team. So whatever we talk about in the next few minutes is not a reflection on our love for the team, or it is a reflection of how much we love the team. How about that? We'll
Okay.
take it that way.
I'll go with that. I'll take that.
We'll go with either
I'll take
one.
that.
So, yes.
Okay, should we start with, I've got a question. I've got a
Sure.
question of the week.
Okay.
And I want to take us back to, look, I don't even remember when it was. Month. I don't know. We played Chelsea at some point.
Right.
It feels like it was a very long time ago.
Before the international
Right?
break, for sure. Yes.
Yes. Before one of these international breaks. I don't know. Was that November? Was it December?
Yes.
I don't know.
Yeah.
We played Chelsea. And during the match, other than the fact that they, were giving a real-time masterclass in dramatics and football theatrics,
Spurred on by
there was a lot of-
VAR. Spurred on by VAR.
Well, I was going to say there was a lot of discussion around the fact that, that is a part of the Premier League and it
Right.
is not a part of the championship. My understanding, with the exception of at the playoff or only at the final stage, right?
At Wembley, there's VAR, but yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So when all of that was going on and we played fantastically, but it was still like a gut-wrenching 120 minutes plus penalties with
Right.
VAR.
Right.
And we all kind of said, you know what, look, if we don't make it up next year, that's fine. There's no VAR in the championship.
Right.
And now here we are, not that much later.
Mm-hmm.
We have gone from sixth place in the entire championship, sixth on the table, to seventh.
Right.
Why does that feel like the blow that it does after having decided not that long ago, hey, guys, look, we're fine. We're fine with staying.
So I think we've gotten into this. So this thing happened. We started the season. We're like, okay, we are showing that we can play in the championship, right? Very first couple of matches, we're like, okay, it's looking good.
Getting our sea legs.
We're getting our sea legs. I don't think we need to worry about being relegated. We kind of, that's where we started the season with. And we kind of went through the first few months of the season of like, okay, we're creeping up. We're sort of hitting to the mid-table. We're happy with the mid-table.
We're kind of starting to figure out
Get our feel.
how we all play together, how we gel together.
How to play against these teams that we haven't played necessarily before in many, many years.
A lot of them, yeah.
Yeah. And so like we were getting into that middle point, and then Christmas happened. And we all got our Christmas wishes that the team would click into this magnificent team that they have become. And within a couple of weeks, we got up to that sixth place playoff position, and we stayed there for like 6 or 7 weeks. And so I think we got very comfortable with the fact that if we just keep doing what we're doing, we're going to make the playoffs, or there's a very good chance that we'll make the playoffs. And I think we feel that way as fans. I think that the team is starting to feel that way. I think Parky is saying we're playing for whatever we can play for, And so I think that we just all got used to it, kind of like in League One last season, where we spent almost the entire season in second place. And it was sort of the expectation. And we probably would have been disappointed in League One had we not been automatic promoted because of all those weeks of really being up
Mm-hmm.
there and having to do the playoffs. Here we're
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, if we get to do the playoffs, that's exciting. It's another level. And so I think it's just our expectations are shifting as we go.
Yeah.
And again, no matter what happens in the next 4 matches, because we only have 4 matches to go, and despite the fact that, spoiler alert, we lost the last 2 matches in spectacular fashion for different reasons.
That is a word to use. Spectacular.
Spectacular fashion. Either way, we're going to finish in the top half of the championship at the highest level that the team has ever been in the second tier. This will be the most successful season ever, and there's so much to build from going into next season, whether we're still in the championship or whether we actually do make it to the playoffs, and depending what happens, so I think it just felt like a blow because we got settled into that. This is where we're at, and we got used to it. Yeah.
And how much of that do you think comes from the fact that we have gone back to back to back? And I think there was, a lot of that was already historic. Right. How bloody fantastic would it be to add another to back at the end of that?
Right.
Versus what I'm going to call the QPR high.
Mm-hmm.
This late, phenomenal, spectacular for a different reason than what you said before, win that's like bringing all of these things together, right? Like, what is it? Is some of it also this expectation? Like, well, we've done it for the last 3 years. This should be another one versus, well, it took us a while to get going, but now look where we are. Right. Now look where we can be.
Right. And I'll say something interesting because I thought about this a little bit because we took a few days to recover from Sunday's match against Birmingham before we filmed this week. And I think that there's a lot of perspective to be had just from how different the 2 matches that we played this week were. So the Southampton match, which we have to say, no matter what, yes, it was probably our biggest loss in many years. Brutal loss. But we lost to an excellent team who were playing at the peak of their performance. They had not lost in 13 matches since January. Yeah. And so they came into us like at a peak that none of the other teams in the championship are at. And they just continued to show while they were at that peak. And we still gave them 45 minutes of very challenging play. Again, with that conversation from last week or the week before, which 45 minutes do you prefer?
And many weeks.
But we went into halftime in the game, right? Josh Windas's goal, which not only now makes him the lead scorer for Wrexham for all the league competitions with this 12th goal, but we were still in the hunt, and it was only 2-1 at half, and we had a momentum going. And had we come back from the second half and ... it might have been a different story. It might have been a different story. But I think we could reconcile that disappointment with that, of knowing that, okay, a few days later, we're going to reset. We're going to come back to Birmingham City. We're going to like show them that we're, a better team than what we showed the other day, and we just didn't. Right. I think
the really numerically, right, the Southampton match should have hurt more.
Right.
5-2 5-1. Sorry, wishful thinking. Numerically, that one should have felt like a bigger loss, right? I think at one point you just kind of like you bury your head in the sand, and you say, "Well, all is lost." Right. But the Birmingham City match felt bigger. It felt like a bigger loss, and I think part of that is because of how crazy the weekend was before. Right? We had all of these change up, all of these surprise outcomes for other matches, that it was like, this is our up, because we were already in 7th at that time. Right. So like that was the time to pounce. pounce now, get in there now that there's been all of this other shakeup, and use that to start this momentum, marching to these last 5 at that time
Mm,
matches, particularly when 2 of these last 4 matches are against teams that are ahead of us, above
right,
us in the
right.
table.
Right. And it's interesting you mentioned that because before Saturday's match, so we played on Sunday. We were the last match of the week.
Mhm.
Before Saturday came in, we knew that if Hull had lost and we had won, we would have gone from 7th to 5th. Right.
Mhm.
So then we would have surpassed our best for the season. We would have been up there a little bit higher. And the opportunity to keep going and make our playoff status just more solidified was right in front of us. Right.
Yeah.
And I mean, we talked about this a little bit on Sunday morning. So, I got myself up out of bed at 3:15 in the morning because it started at 4 o'clock in the US on the West Coast.
Yep.
Um, we were confused by the lineup.
Yeah, we
We
were.
were we were pleased that Matty James was back because we're happy to see him on the
Absolutely.
field, and we were pleased to see him start. But I think we probably
But I
realized that
was
it probably was too soon for him to start or
yeah.
to put in a full
I don't
match.
know, just I think that was part of it, but also just the lineup in general felt
Right.
very
I think we both thought that Parkey would come in and say, okay, we're going to seal this deal in the first 20 minutes and just hold on. And to do that, like in my mind, that's like Windass and Broadhead together with Moore with, some big pushes. And, neither
or
Windass nor
you've got
Broadhead
Matty
was in the
James
land.
in,
Yeah.
start Sam Smith.
Yes. Yes. And set up something different. Right. It just, we don't know what, I mean, we're not the manager. We just play
What?
armchair manager.
Excuse
Uh,
me?
but it was confusing,
Yeah.
and we just never I think at one point Mia in her commentary at the end of the match, her sum up was, well, Wrexham just didn't show up today.
Mm-mm.
And which is like, you never want that to happen, especially when you're
No.
in the business end of the season. And had we won,
And that this
Mhm.
is your key moment.
Key moment. And of the 5 remaining matches at this point, this was the one that was probably one of the more likely to win in
I mean,
a satisfying
certainly
way.
Coventry.
Well, not to say that other teams haven't beaten Coventry. I mean, there's been a couple that we beat them earlier in the
Yes.
season, and
There have been a small number
small number
of
of teams.
teams.
Yes,
They
but
could sleep for the rest of the matches of the season, and they are still going to be promoted automatically.
right.
Like, they're not going to do us any favors and let us win.
Right.
We've got that remaining. Middlesbrough
Could go
maybe
either
there's
way.
a chance.
They've been having a little bit of a rough patch lately, just as they're getting towards the end
But
of the
they're
season as
so
well. Too.
solidly ahead that I
Mhm.
also, like, it's not like we're going to go instead of them.
Right.
Right. That's not really a reality that we're living in. So, yeah, I mean, we've got the next, I guess I'm jumping the gun here, but
Go for it.
We've
Just
got
jump it.
Stoke City and we've got Oxford United. And I think those with Birmingham City were kind of on the range of like, these are maybe the more likely to be winnable of the last 5, right?
Right. So I say
Like,
Stoke
I
City.
think it would have been very unlikely to get 15 points in these
So-
last 5 matches.
So 4 matches left, 12 points to fight for. Stoke City, if you remember, was one of our first. We think we're going to win this, and we were very disappointed when we didn't.
Yep.
But they are playing at the racecourse, so that we have that counting for us. That's one of our last 2 matches at home. They're solidly in 13th place, so it's kind of middle of the table, could go either way. Oxford United is fighting for relegation. They're fighting against relegation. And on Tuesday, which is yesterday, Portsmouth, also fighting for relegation, pulled out a huge victory.
Yeah.
and brought themselves one step clear of relegation. And so Oxford United, they may be in 23rd, but they're fighting, and who knows what they're going to bring to that fight. And we're playing at their
Everything.
home. And so we
Yeah,
can't say that's an automatic win, right?
absolutely not.
None of these are automatic wins. And so this week, with, these next two matches will, I think, really tell us, are we out of the playoffs? Or is this still a possibility? And it really comes down to the Middlesbrough and the Coventry matches. So can we go back to Southampton for a second?
Yes, please.
So they came into our match, as I mentioned. So they were on a 13 match. They had not lost since January. They proceeded on the Saturday after to have a spectacular win.
Absolutely.
They then were one of the only two teams that played yesterday on Tuesday, and they won again, right? So here now they've moved up. So we were frustrated when they pushed us from 6th to 7th, and they moved into 6th. Now they're solidly in 4th place.
Yeah.
And they're in the hunt really for automatic promotion. They have
Maybe even, yeah.
They have a good chance up against the other teams that are up there. They could do it, right? And so if you're looking at sort of the teams that are vying for the playoff position, I think it really comes down to, is the 6th place going to go to Hull? Will they hold on, or will they start to fall apart a little bit in the last 4 matches of the season? Will it go to us, who come back, or will it come to Derby County, who's right behind us, nipping on our heels?
Yeah.
And luckily, they didn't win on Saturday, so they didn't close that gap any. But it's really going to come down to those 3 for that final position. And interestingly, in next year's setup, all 3 of us we would all be very close to securing guaranteed
3 through
playoff
8,
positions.
right?
Yeah. And so again, I think this calls back to your point a little bit, is like, it's not the worst thing if we don't make it this year. It just means that next year we build on what we have, and we also have a little bit of more of a window of opportunity. And potentially playing some really, really big teams who get relegated from the Premier League, including possibly Tottenham Hotspurs might get relegated, which means that we could have exciting matches in London in the Championship. And so I think again, it's not all lost, but
and it's funny actually. While we were playing on Sunday, my father-in-law, had asked the question, "Do you think with this team?" that you would be a competitive team in the Premier League?
That's a tough
and
question.
Let's go back to the preface. Let's go back to the preface that we had at the very beginning. But I don't think that the answer is yes.
Right. There are members of that team who I think can step up. And
absolutely. I think as a whole, though, I don't think it would be the most competitive team in the Premier League. And I said that to him, and he said, "Yeah, but what are you going to do? Change the whole team?" And I said, "Well, you know what?
We did. We did
13." And the look on his face was just, he couldn't believe it.
In the summer, not including
the summer,
3,
that was what I said.
Not including the 3 that we brought in January. Yeah, so
he picked his jaw up off the floor, and then we continued the conversation.
Right. Yeah. So I will say, I mean, we were frustrated at Birmingham City. It was a very disappointing match. I think we both had kind of like shut down mentally at some point, knowing that we weren't coming back from that.
Except for the personal win that I had, my personal victory.
Okay, well, let's hear about your personal victory, because I will then shout out the one player who I think did show up this match. But
okay,
why don't you go first?
My personal victory was you saying that you agree with me that Ollie Rathbone should not be starting and he should be coming in at the end. I may have done an actual victory dance.
Because of the energy and enthusiasm he brings late into the match. And unfortunately, this time it didn't do much. Just like bringing in Josh Windass and all it, and Nathan Broadhead didn't work this time. But I will say that the one player, they say that Wrexham didn't show up at all. The one player who absolutely showed up from the very beginning of the match to the end was Arthur. King Arthur. He made a couple of really
great saves. Shockingly. No, not at all shockingly. He's been...
And I don't know if you saw, so he was interviewed last week on that Wrexham podcast.
Yep.
And he talked about when Danny Ward was brought in at the beginning of the season. And when Parkey brought in Danny Ward, he said to Arthur, we're bringing in Danny as your number 2.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, it's just going to keep you motivated. It's going to keep you going. And then they went to the Australia tour, which did not go well. And came back from the Australia tour. And Parkey said to Arthur, you know what? He's going to be the number 1. And that could have defeated him. That could have made, it hard to come back from. But then 4 matches later, Arthur was back at the number 1. And he has really grown this season. I feel like
he really has.
He's just so much more strategic, and he seems he's settled into this calmness that is just, I think it's important for the entire team,
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And I said this to you because, Josh Windass gets a lot of heat because he will score and then do little to no celebration.
Right.
And I said, I thought he was Mr. Cool, meaning like cool and calm and collected.
Right.
But after watching the interview with Arthur on that Wrexham podcast, Arthur is Mr. Cool. No question. He is so like calm. And I loved his perspective on penalty kicks, right? Like the expectation is that I'm not going to get it. So there's no pressure on me because if I get it, I'm a hero. If I don't, that's just the expectation.
God, is that a lesson I could learn for life? It's like realize the things
could all, oh my gosh, we could
that
all
there are things that we are expected to lose. And if we don't, then we win. I love that. I love that perspective.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so 4 more matches to go. 12 points on the line. Like we mentioned, it's kind of like we'll know more after Saturday.
I'm hoping for a bit of chaos in the table.
Chaos would be
not
good.
Necessarily from our match.
No, but we
maybe
could
from other matches. That would be nice.
Yes, I think it's still unexpected what's going to happen in this next couple of weeks.
Sure.
But we'll look ahead Stoke City on Saturday at the racecourse, and then followed by next Tuesday at Oxford United, and then the very difficult matches of Coventry City first, and then Middlesbrough at home at the end of the season. So
I think a lot of our chances are going to have to do with the way the rest of the table falls, and not just how we do. I think we need
how we do and how we do is still very, very important.
Absolutely. But just to say, I think it's going to be both. It's not just like, okay, if we can do well, like that's it. I think there also needs to be a bit of a shakeup for us to be able to like get that edge. Right. But even if we don't, guys, remember, no VAR.
No VAR, and we'll still be here next season. We've built a great foundation, and we're going to keep building on that. And the documentary was just renewed for 3 more years. So welcome to Wrexham. We'll be following this journey for the next 3 years. And even in a few weeks, we'll be able to start talking about this season from the perspective of the documentary. So that'll be an interesting thing for us as well, too. So hang in there for this week. Okay.
All right. Here we go.
Here we go.
Deep breaths.
Okay.
Well, that's all we have time for. Thanks for joining us this week. Please like, comment, and subscribe.
You can also email us at wxmcoffeematchup@gmail.com. All one word. That's wxmcoffeematchup@gmail.com. Or you can follow us on Instagram and Blue Sky at wxmcoffeematchup.
From the cop to your coffee cup, that's all for today's Wrexham Coffee Matchup. Keep it brewing, keep it red, and as always, up the town.